Alright, well I'm just going to hop right to the point because you clicked on a video that said something about red brass and yellow brass. So, this is a video on how to kind of tell the difference between them. And because you want to keep them separate, especially those of you that are new to scrapping, there's only one way to tell the difference between red brass and yellow brass. Red brass is worth more. Go into that later. But there's only one way to tell, and that's to scratch it. You can scratch it with a file. You can have a table grinder, a hand grinder. We have a bunch of Ryobi grinders at our place. So either way, now I'm going to get into detail about it. All right, so here I'm going to get. This is so hard to do. If y'all remember, I did this in a live video where I was going through some brass and copper. It's just really hard. I'm trying my best with the camera and lighting and stuff to show you. But I promise, Jackpot Digger, if you're watching this, shout out to you, brother. And I promised you this video like a really long time ago, and I never did it, so sorry. So I'm going to try to get some close-ups of here and adjust. Okay, so this is obviously copper right here. But these two pieces are kind of the same thing. Not really. They're used for plumbing. I'm not a plumber, so sorry. Go ahead and correct me. Teach me. How about that? So this is a shade of yellow. This is where I scratched it. Scratched it on a table grinder. And I'm going to twirl it around so you can get kind of a different view of it. If you scratch it, if it looks yellow like that, it must be yellow brass. This one is red brass. And like I said, it's so hard to do this on video, but it has a reddish tint to it. It's hard to do it when you're in person. This is one of the hardest things for scrapyards to teach the guys that work there and the girls that work out there in the yard. I don't know if you can tell a difference on the video, but this is a darker tint than this one. I'm trying to get as best as I can. A lot of times it helps, like I explained in my live video. You can see how this is kind of rough texture. Most of the time, a lot of your red brass is going to have that rough texture to it. And once you start doing this long enough, you're going to just be able to pick up a piece and know. But even I still have to scratch into pieces. I've been doing this since I was, like I said in another video, since I came out my mama. I've been doing this a long time, but even I still have to scratch stuff. All right, so then that's how the rough texture is how I kind of tell in pieces that I know. It's just easier for me to distinguish it. So here, this is looks very red, and it's got a rough texture, but that all goes out the window when you scratch it, because this is actually yellow. You can't always go by the rough texture of it. It's just something that helps you with some pieces. But this is, let's see if I can focus it a little bit better. So that's yellow, and if I take a red piece and put it next to it, some of you are probably looking at this going like, this guy is so stupid. What are you talking about? They look the same to me. But if you were here right now, you'd be able to tell. And that's how whenever I'm separating, we go through so much brass, and whenever I have to grind pieces because I don't know what they are, that's what I do is I take a piece that I know for a fact is red brass because I've been doing this so long, and I scratch it, and I keep it by the grinder. When I scratch all the other pieces, I kind of put it up to it, and I'm like, yep, that's obviously not the same tint, so it's going to go in the yellow. So it's a good idea to find a piece that you know is yellow and a piece that you know is red, and go ahead and scratch them and keep them right there while you're going through everything else. Alright, so here I have another piece, and you can see I scratched it right here. Focus, Daniel-san. So right here you can see that it's got a yellow tint to it where I scratched it. Now here's another piece that I have. It's red. This is a good piece. I'm looking at it through my camera right now, and it looks like you can kind of distinctly tell the difference. this is darker and has a more reddish tint. This would be a really good piece, like I said, to keep by your grinder and use. And the reason I say that as scrappers, you guys should always scratch everything is because, like I said in other videos, a scrapyard is not going to pay you more money for red. They might not pay you at all. They might just be total jerks. But they're not going to pay you more money, most likely, if it's not already scratched. Because if they have to do all the work and scratch it just to go through and see it, I mean, a lot of them are busy. They got the next person in line waiting to turn in their material. So I'm not going to sit there and scratch every piece. It makes it a whole lot easier when you bring them a bucket of this stuff and it's all pre-scratched and they can just look at it and there's not really any argument there. And if they still won't buy it, then ask to talk to a manager. Ask to talk to somebody else. Don't be afraid. Get your money's worth. And I don't know everything. Make that clear to everybody. I'm always up for learning, so if anybody's got something to teach me, go for it. Here's another little piece of red brass. That's where I cut my thumb on a piece of copper tubing on a chiller. Alright, so here's a piece of yellow. Focus. Compare it to our piece of red. You can definitely tell the difference. A lot of times you'll have chrome plated stuff, like a lot of stuff that comes from urinals and stuff like that is actually red brass if you scratch into it, but it's chrome plated, and that just depends on whoever the scrapyard is selling it to, whether they'll accept that or not. So here's another piece of yellow right here, and we'll match it up with our red, and you can tell the difference. Very easy. And this is a brass shoe with a little bunny rabbit inside. Boop, boop, boop. Don't ever scratch brass animals or brass shoes or anything cool like that. Just bring them right on down to Bracken Recycling, turn them in, so Hunter can add them to his collection. Some of you may know I love brass animals. And that's about all I got to say about that. This is the grinder that I was talking about. Bought at Home Depot. Saved me a lot of money, made me a lot of money. Put a battery on it right here. That's what I use grind all my stuff with.